Canada's defense story has always been shaped by the land it protects. Few nations face such a vast, unforgiving landscape. From Atlantic coasts battered by storms, across endless prairies and dense forests, and into the frozen Arctic, Canada's geography is both its greatest strength and its biggest challenge. For a country like this, an air force isn't just a branch of the military, it's a lifeline. Aircraft must patrol the world's second-largest landmass, guard shipping lanes, and watch borders that stretch into some of the most remote regions on Earth. For decades, Canada's air fleets struggled to keep up. Fighters aged, budgets stretched, and choices were shaped by politics and alliances. Too often, decisions seemed to reflect Washington's interests rather than Ottawa's. Most assumed Canada's next fighter would be the American F-35. Billions of dollars and years of lobbying reinforced that belief. US companies promised aerospace jobs and contracts. Politicians warned about NATO alignment. Everywhere, the F-35 was sold as the pinnacle of stealth and modern warfare. On paper, it looked inevitable. Then Canada surprised everyone. It chose Sweden's JAS-39 Gripen. The Gripen wasn't supposed to win. Smaller, less expensive, and without massive promotional campaigns, it stood out for different reasons: freedom, strategy, and the kind of future Canada wanted for its military. The Gripen represents a different philosophy. While the F-35 ties operators into US maintenance systems and software controls, the Gripen offers independence. Canada can service these jets at home, adapt them to local conditions, and deploy them without outside approval. For a country that prizes sovereignty, that matters. Consider Canada's geography again. Much of the north lacks large air bases. Arctic runways are scarce, and winter conditions can shut even advanced facilities. The Gripen was designed for exactly these challenges. Built for Sweden's defense against larger powers, it can take off from highways, operate from remote outposts, and be maintained by small crews with basic equipment. For Canada, where frozen roads may be the only option in a crisis, that capability is invaluable. This choice echoes a painful chapter in Canadian history, the Avro Arrow. In the 1950s, Canada built what many called the most advanced fighter of its time. Under US pressure and political hesitation, the program was cancelled. It was more than a lost project. It symbolized Canada bowing to outside influence. Choosing the Gripen feels like history corrected, a statement that Canada will no longer compromise its independence just to please others. In performance, the Gripen is no underdog. Its electronic warfare suite is world-class. It can jam radars, deceive missiles, and create phantom targets to confuse opponents. In NATO exercises, Gripens have beaten far more expensive aircraft through agility, intelligence, and advanced tactics. Canadian pilots praise its cockpit design for reducing workload and allowing better strategic thinking. In combat, that can be the difference between success and failure. A pilot focused on the mission, not fighting with controls, can adapt faster to changing situations. Cost played a big role. The F-35 is notoriously expensive to operate, tens of thousands of dollars for each flight hour. Gripens cost a fraction of that. Canada can afford more planes, keep them flying more often, and maintain a ready fleet. A fighter is useless if it's too costly to fly or spends most of its time waiting for parts. Choosing the Gripen ensures Canada's Air Force stays active and capable year-round. The geopolitical impact was immediate. Washington couldn't openly criticize Canada without risking NATO tensions, but the discomfort was clear. Billions in contracts slipped from US companies. Other NATO nations, especially those with tight budgets, took notice. If Canada could get cutting-edge defense at a fraction of the cost, maybe they could too. This choice may quietly reshape global defense procurement. The Arctic is where this decision matters most. Melting ice and new shipping lanes are sparking competition for northern resources. Russia has fortified its Arctic with bombers and missile bases. China calls itself a near-Arctic power, signaling its ambitions. Canada's outdated fighters were stretched thin. With Gripens, Canada can redeploy quickly, patrol areas once out of reach, and take off from frozen highways or makeshift runways without relying on major bases. That agility gives Canada an edge in the north. Electronic warfare is perhaps Gripen's most powerful weapon. In modern conflicts, battles are fought as much with information as with missiles. Gripens can blind enemy sensors and disrupt communications, turning battlefields into confusion. This gives Canada a decisive advantage without firing a shot. Some feared rejecting the F-35 would isolate Canada, but the Gripen is fully NATO compatible. It shares data, flies alongside Allied aircraft, and integrates into multinational missions without issue. The difference is ownership. Canada controls its Gripens outright. Independence, not isolation, is the real story. The emotional weight of this move is significant. The shadow of the Avro Arrow has lingered for generations. By picking the Gripen, Canada showed it can take bold steps and prioritize sovereignty over political convenience. For many Canadians, it's a source of renewed pride. Early training and operations back up the decision. Gripens are proving reliable, easy to maintain, and quick to deploy. Sortie rates are higher than expected. Pilots describe the Gripen as a partner in missions rather than just a machine. For a military defending some of the harshest environments on Earth, that reliability is priceless. Canada's choice could reshape NATO's future. Smaller nations may follow, breaking the dominance of a single supplier and encouraging competition. More competition means lower costs, better technology, and greater flexibility for everyone. Beyond budgets and geopolitics, this move sends a powerful message. You don't have to be a superpower to make superpower decisions. By choosing the Gripen, Canada declared it would shape its own destiny, defend its sovereignty, and lead among its allies, not just follow. As the first Gripen streak across Canadian skies, they are more than steel and electronics. They're symbols of a nation taking control of its future. From Arctic patrols to NATO drills, they remind the world that strength isn't about the biggest fleet or most expensive hardware. Sometimes it's about making the smartest choice. The Gripen embodies a philosophy of speed, adaptability, and intelligence over raw numbers or prestige. In modern conflict, flexibility beats flash. Canada's embrace of this philosophy shows it understands today's realities. Wars are won by those who adapt fastest, not those who spend the most. This decision is also about sustainability. With budgets under pressure and environmental concerns rising, operating a fleet that costs less and uses resources efficiently is forward-thinking. The Gripen's open architecture allows easy upgrades with emerging technologies like drones and AI, keeping Canada's Air Force relevant for decades without costly redesigns. The world will watch as Canada's Gripens prove themselves in Arctic patrols, NATO exercises, and global missions. Their success will influence defense strategies far beyond Canadian borders and inspire Canadians themselves. Seeing modern fighters patrolling their skies, fully owned and controlled by their country, sends a message of confidence and capability. This new chapter isn't just about technology, it's about identity. For too long, Canada's NATO role was seen as secondary. The Gripen changes that. It allows Canada to defend its vast territories, protect Arctic claims, and contribute meaningfully to global security without compromising independence. As Gripens roar over the tundra and through NATO exercises, they signal a broader shift. Canada is stepping into a leadership role, quietly but decisively reshaping the balance of power in the skies. From coast to coast to coast, Canadians will see these fighters as proof that strategic choices can outmatch sheer spending. The Gripen's story in Canada is just beginning, but its presence has already changed the conversation. Canada has entered a new era, one where sovereignty, adaptability, and intelligence define its power. Subscribe to our channel for more stories like this.